The world is full of incredible places. Some are famous, like the pyramids of Egypt or the Great Wall of China, but some are hidden, tucked away from the crowds. Today, on November 27, 2025, I want to take you to one of those secret spots. It's a place deep in Peru, on the edge of the vast Amazon rainforest. Imagine a forest so high up that it lives inside the clouds. This is the cloud forest, a world of dripping green leaves, constant mist, and mysteries that are thousands of years old. It's a stone's throw from the world-famous Machu Picchu, yet it feels like a completely different universe, a lost world waiting to be found. Our destination is a set of hidden ruins, a megalithic site that most people will never see. The word megalithic just means it was built with massive stones. These ruins are not on any tourist map. They are not easy to get to. You have to earn the right to see them. The journey is part of the adventure. It tests your body and your spirit. It asks you to climb higher than you thought you could, and to walk further than you believed possible. The reward is a connection to the past that you can't get from a book or a museum. It's a feeling of discovery, of being the first person to lay eyes on something ancient and powerful. This adventure started with a whisper, a rumor I heard from a local guide. He spoke of an ancient place, older than the Incas, built by a mysterious people. He said it was a place of incredible stonework, built right into the mountainside. The idea grabbed hold of my imagination. I've spent my life exploring wild places and searching for amazing animals, but the idea of finding a lost city is a different kind of thrill. It's a chance to touch history, to walk in the footsteps of people who lived in a world so different from our own. The call to explore was too strong to ignore. I knew I had to go, so we prepared for a journey into the unknown. This wasn't a simple day trip. It required planning, supplies, and a deep respect for the environment we were about to enter. The cloud forest is a fragile ecosystem, and the ruins are an irreplaceable piece of human history. We packed light, bringing only what we needed: water, a first aid kit, and of course, our cameras to share the story with you. We were ready to leave the modern world behind and step into a story written in stone, a story waiting for us high up in the misty mountains of Peru. Our journey began at the bottom of a steep valley. The air was thick and humid, filled with the sounds of the jungle. Insects buzzed, unseen birds called out from the canopy, and the roar of a distant river was a constant companion. We stood at the start of a narrow dirt path, looking up. The mountain rose before us like a giant green wall. The trail was not a gentle slope. It went straight up, a staircase carved into the earth by centuries of rainfall and the footsteps of the few who had passed this way before. This was the only way to the hidden city. There were no roads, no cable cars, just this single, challenging path. The first hour was a test of endurance. The jungle was dense, and the trees formed a thick roof over our heads, blocking out the sun. It felt like walking through a tunnel of green. Giant ferns brushed against our legs, and long vines called lianas hung down like ropes from the treetops. The ground was a tangle of roots, slick with mud and damp leaves. Every step had to be placed carefully. We had to use our hands to pull ourselves up steep sections, grabbing onto roots and rocks for support. The air was so heavy with moisture that it felt like we were breathing water. Sweat poured down our faces, but we kept moving, one step at a time. As we climbed higher, the forest began to change. The trees became shorter, and the undergrowth thinned out a little. We started to see glimpses of the valley below, through breaks in the leaves. The world opened up, and we could see how high we had already climbed. It was an incredible view, but there was no time to rest for long. The path became even steeper. It was less of a walk and more of a climb. We were using all four limbs, scrambling over rocks and pulling ourselves up ledges. The physical effort was immense, and my muscles were already starting to burn from the constant strain. We took short breaks to catch our breath and drink water. During one stop, I noticed something small on the path. It was a piece of broken pottery, decorated with a simple geometric pattern. It was a tiny clue, a message from the past. Holding it in my hand, I felt a surge of excitement. We were on the right track. This small fragment was proof that people had lived here, that they had walked this same difficult path. It was a reminder that we were not just climbing a mountain, we were following a trail laid down by an ancient civilization. The discovery gave us new energy to continue our climb toward the sky. After hours of climbing through the dense jungle, the world changed dramatically. The trees fell away, and we found ourselves on a narrow ledge, clinging to the side of the mountain. The path was now only a foot wide in some places. On one side was the solid rock wall of the mountain. On the other side was a sheer drop. 1,000 feet of empty air separated us from the valley floor below. My heart pounded in my chest. I have faced dangerous animals and climbed tall trees, but a fear of heights is a very primal thing. It's a voice in your head that screams danger with every step. I had to control my fear. I focused on the path directly in front of me, not daring to look down. I moved slowly and deliberately, making sure every footstep was secure before shifting my weight. My hands were pressed against the cool, damp rock of the mountain wall, using it for balance. The wind howled around us, trying to push us off balance. It was a real mental battle. I had to trust my footing, trust my guide, and trust that the path would hold. I reminded myself why we were here, to see something incredible, to uncover a piece of history that few have ever witnessed. There were moments when the path seemed to disappear completely. We had to scramble over sections of loose rock or navigate around boulders that blocked the way. At one point, we had to cross a small waterfall that cascaded over the trail, making the rock slippery and treacherous. My boots were soaked and my clothes were caked in mud, but none of that mattered. All that mattered was moving forward safely. I could feel the adrenaline pumping through my veins. It was a mixture of fear and excitement, a feeling that makes you feel truly alive. This was adventure in its purest form. Looking back along the narrow ridge, I could see my team moving carefully behind me. We were all in this together, a chain of explorers linked by a shared goal and a shared challenge. The experience bonded us. We encouraged each other, calling out warnings about loose rocks or slippery patches. Facing a challenge like this builds a unique kind of trust. You are literally putting your life in the hands of the person in front of you and behind you. We were no longer just a group of individuals. We were a team, united against the mountain, pushing ourselves to the limit for the promise of discovery. After what felt like an eternity on the narrow ledge, our guide pointed ahead. "Look," he said, his voice barely a whisper against the wind. I lifted my head, my eyes following his finger, and then I saw it. Through the swirling mist, shapes began to appear. They were stone walls, dark and ancient, rising from the mountainside. They were perfectly straight, a stark contrast to the wild, untamed nature all around them. It was the hidden city. My exhaustion vanished, replaced by a feeling of pure awe. We had made it. After the brutal climb and the heart-stopping walk along the cliff edge, our reward was finally in sight. The ruins were built in a breathtaking location. They clung to the steep slope, terraced one above the other, as if they were part of the mountain itself. The clouds drifted in and out, sometimes hiding the city completely, then revealing it again in a magical display. It was easy to see why it had remained hidden for so long. It was a fortress in the sky, a secret guarded by the mountain and the mist. Seeing it for the first time was a powerful, emotional moment. It felt like we had stepped into a fantasy novel, discovering a lost kingdom that the world had forgotten. As we got closer, the scale of the construction became clear. These were not small huts. They were multi-story buildings made of enormous stones, all fitted together with incredible precision. The walls were covered in moss and orchids, a sign of how long they had been abandoned to the cloud forest. The green of nature was slowly reclaiming the gray of the stone, creating a beautiful and haunting scene. It was a perfect harmony between human creation and the natural world. The builders had not fought against the mountain. They had worked with it, creating a city that felt like it had grown from the rock. We stood there for a long time, just taking it all in. The silence was profound, broken only by the wind and the drip of water from the leaves. There were no crowds, no tour buses, no souvenir shops. There was just us, the clouds, and this magnificent, silent city. It was a privilege to be there, a moment of pure discovery that I will never forget. All the sweat, all the fear, all the aching muscles were worth it for this one. Perfect view. We had earned this moment, and it was more spectacular than I could have ever imagined. The real exploration was about to begin. Stepping into the ruins felt like entering another world. The first thing that struck me was the unique style of the windows. Unlike the square or rectangular windows we are used to, these were trapezoidal. They were wider at the bottom and narrower at the top. This design is a hallmark of ancient Andean architecture, but these were different. They were small, almost like peepholes, and placed high up on the walls. They were not designed to let in a lot of light or to provide a grand view. Their purpose was a mystery. Perhaps they were for defense, allowing archers to shoot out while remaining protected. Or maybe they had a spiritual meaning, aligned with the sun or stars. One of the most fascinating features was how the builders had integrated natural caves into their structures. Instead of clearing the land, they built their walls directly onto and around the existing rock formations. In one building, an entire wall was actually the smooth, curved face of a giant boulder. In another, a small cave had been transformed into a room. The builders had carved niches and shelves directly into the cave wall. It showed an incredible respect for the natural landscape. They didn't see the mountain as an obstacle. They saw it as a partner in their creation, a sacred foundation for their home. The precision of the stonework was mind-boggling. The walls were made of huge irregular stones, some weighing many tons. Yet, they were fitted together so perfectly that you couldn't slip a piece of paper between them. There was no mortar, no cement holding them together. They were held in place by their own weight and the sheer skill of the builders. Looking closely at one wall, I noticed strange white and reddish mineral deposits seeping out from the cracks between the stones. Our guide explained that this was from minerals inside the mountain, slowly leaching out over centuries. It was like the mountain itself was bleeding through the walls. This site was so different from famous places like Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is grand, expansive, and built for royalty. This place felt more practical, more mysterious, and more connected to the raw power of nature. The small windows, the integration of caves, and the strange mineral buildup gave it a unique character. It felt older, wilder, and more secretive. It wasn't a city designed to impress visitors, it was a city designed for a specific purpose, a purpose that we could only guess at. Every stone held a question, and every corner revealed a new puzzle to be solved. Before we began our detailed exploration, we had to follow a strict safety procedure. There was a small weathered hut near the entrance to the site, manned by a single park ranger. He had a logbook, and we had to sign in, writing our names, the date, and the time we arrived. We also had to state what time we planned to leave. This is a crucial safety measure in such a remote and dangerous location. If we didn't sign out by our stated time, the ranger would know that something was wrong, and a search party would be sent. It was a sobering reminder of just how isolated we were. The wilderness here is beautiful, but it is also unforgiving. With the formalities complete, we began to explore the ruins step by step. We moved slowly, wanting to absorb every detail. We walked through narrow stone alleyways that connected the different buildings. The walls towered over us, creating a maze of stone and shadows. We entered dark rooms, using our flashlights to see inside. The air was cool and smelled of damp earth and stone. In one room, we found a series of small square niches carved into the wall. These were likely used for storing personal items, or perhaps for holding small statues of their gods. It was a glimpse into the daily lives of the people who lived here. We climbed stone staircases that led to upper terraces. Each level of the city offered a new perspective. From the highest point, we had a commanding view of the surrounding valleys. We could see for miles in every direction. It was a strategic location, perfect for watching for approaching enemies or for observing the movements of the sun and stars. I tried to imagine what it would have been like to live here, to wake up every morning to this incredible view, surrounded by clouds. It must have felt like living on the top of the world, separate from everyone else. As we explored, we made small discoveries. In a corner of one plaza, I found a large, flat stone with a channel carved into it, leading to a small basin. Was it for grinding grain, or for some kind of ritual involving liquid? In another area, we found a stone that was carved with a faint spiral pattern, almost completely worn away by time and weather. Each of these small details was a clue. They were pieces of a puzzle that we were trying to put together. We were not just looking at ruins. We were reading a story written in stone, a story of a lost people and their forgotten way of life. Our adventure would not have been possible without the help of our local guide, a man named Mateo. His family had lived in the valley for generations, and the stories of the cloud warriors who built the city had been passed down from his grandfather. He knew the mountain like the back of his hand. He knew which roots were strong enough to hold your weight, which rocks were loose, and where the path was most dangerous. He navigated the treacherous trail with an ease that came from a lifetime of experience. He was more than a guide. He was our lifeline, connecting us safely to this hidden world. Mateo's knowledge extended far beyond the trail. Once we were inside the ruins, he became our interpreter of the past. He pointed out things we would have easily missed. He showed us a stone that, when struck with a small rock, produced a clear, bell-like tone. He explained that this was a calling stone, perhaps used to signal to others across the valley. He also showed us a small spring that emerged from the rock inside one of the buildings, providing a constant source of fresh water. This was a detail that showed the genius of the builders. They had located their city on a site with its own water supply. Because of Mateo's relationship with the local community and the park ranger, we were granted a level of access that is not given to everyone. The ranger, who was a cousin of Mateo's, allowed us to stay at the site after the official closing time. This meant we could be there for sunset, a truly magical experience. As the sun went down, it cast long shadows through the stone corridors and painted the clouds in brilliant shades of orange and pink. We had the entire ancient city to ourselves, a private viewing of one of the world's greatest secrets. It was an incredible privilege, one that we owed entirely to our local connections. This experience highlighted the importance of working with local people. They are the true guardians of these historical sites. Their knowledge, passed down through generations, is a treasure that cannot be found in any book. They understand the environment, they know the history, and they have a deep personal connection to the place. By hiring local guides and respecting their expertise, we not only ensure our own safety but also contribute to the local economy and help empower the community to continue protecting its own heritage. Mateo wasn't just working for us, he was sharing his home and his history with us. As I walked through the silent city, my mind was filled with questions. Who were the people who built this incredible place? The style of the stonework was different from the classic Inca style, suggesting it might have been built by an earlier, less-known culture. The local legends called them the Chachapoyas, the warriors of the clouds, a fierce and independent people who ruled this region before the Incas conquered them. Were these ruins one of their fortified cities, a stronghold built to defend their territory? The strategic location and the small, defensive-looking windows certainly suggested it. I tried to imagine their daily lives. What did they eat? What did they wear? What were their beliefs? I looked at the small niches in the walls and wondered what precious objects they once held. I stood in the central plaza and imagined it filled with people, the sounds of children playing and craftsmen at work echoing off the stone walls. Why did they build with such precision? Moving and placing these massive stones without modern technology would have required incredible organization, skill, and mathematical knowledge. It wasn't just about shelter, it was a statement. It was a way of showing their power, their connection to the gods, and their mastery over their environment. The purpose of some features remained a complete mystery. There was one circular tower that stood apart from the other buildings. It had no obvious entrance on the ground floor. Why? Was it a food storehouse, designed to keep animals out? Or was it an astronomical observatory, used to track the sun, moon, and stars? The builders left no written language, no books to explain their world. All we have are these stone structures, a silent testament to their existence. It's like being a detective at a crime scene that is thousands of years old. You have to piece together the clues and let your imagination fill in the gaps. This is what I love most about exploring ancient sites like this. It sparks your curiosity and forces you to ask big questions. It reminds us that our modern world is just one chapter in the long, complex story of humanity. There were great civilizations that rose and fell long before ours, cultures with incredible knowledge and skills that we are only just beginning to understand. Standing in that city in the clouds, I felt a deep sense of humility and wonder. The builders were not primitive. They were masters of their world, and their legacy, carved in stone, continues to challenge and inspire us today. As we finally signed out of the logbook and began our long descent down the mountain, I carried more than just photographs and memories. The adventure had taught me a profound lesson about perseverance. The climb was one of the hardest things I have ever done. There were moments when I wanted to give up, when the fear and exhaustion felt overwhelming, but pushing through those moments of difficulty made the final reward so much sweeter. It taught me that the most incredible experiences in life are often the ones you have to work the hardest for. The journey itself is as important as the destination. This hidden city also reminded me that history is not just found in museums. It is a living thing, embedded in the landscape all around us. Places like this are incredibly fragile. They have survived for centuries, but they are threatened by climate change, deforestation, and even the impact of too many visitors. Unlike famous sites that have large budgets for conservation, these hidden gems rely on the protection of a small number of local people and the respect of the few who visit them. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that they survive for future generations to wonder at. Preserving these sites is not just about protecting old stones, it is about protecting the stories and the knowledge they hold. Each ruin is a library of information about human ingenuity, resilience, and our relationship with the natural world. When a site like this is lost, a chapter of the human story is erased forever. We need to support the local communities who are the frontline guardians of this heritage. They hold the keys to understanding and protecting these places, and their involvement is essential for any long-term preservation efforts. My journey to the lost city in the clouds was more than just an expedition. It was a pilgrimage. It was a journey to a place that exists outside of time, a place that connects the distant past with the immediate present. It reinforced my belief that there are still so many secrets left to uncover on our planet. There are still lost cities to be found and ancient puzzles to be solved, and it is the pursuit of these mysteries, the drive to explore the unknown, that pushes us forward and teaches us more about the world, and, ultimately, about ourselves. This treasure in the clouds is a powerful reminder that our planet's greatest wonders are worth every effort to find, and even greater effort to protect.